Imagine waking up in a pool of your own blood, your nose fractured, teeth missing, body weak, and no memory of how it happened. That's exactly what Tamar Braxton just told the world. And here's where it gets stranger. She says a friend was injured too. Yet no police report, no hospital record, no official word from her team. Just one haunting Instagram post that left fans asking what really happened that night. Tonight, we're breaking down the clues, the odd wording in her message, the shocking text she sent the next morning, and why this story might be bigger and darker than anyone realizes. Stay with me because the details only get wilder from here. How does a global R&B star, a woman who has lived her entire adult life under the glare of cameras, suddenly post that she woke up in a pool of blood with a fractured nose, missing teeth, and no memory of what happened? How does someone known for her unfiltered honesty and her glamorous image casually drop that she almost died on Instagram and then go silent? And perhaps the most unsettling detail, how do two people end up injured in the same mysterious event, yet no one can explain what really went down? This isn't just another celebrity headline. This is Tamar Braxton, a woman whose life story has always blended triumph, talent, heartbreak, and high drama, now adding a new chapter that has left fans more confused than ever. Tonight, we're unpacking everything we know. Tamar's own words, the inconsistencies in her account, the commentary from friends, the silence from her team, and the speculation now swirling online. This isn't gossip for gossip's sake. It's a mystery with pieces missing, and every clue we find only raises new questions. So buckle up, because by the time we're done, you'll understand why the internet hasn't let this story go, why her fans are torn between prayers and suspicions, and why Tamar's own phrasing may have cracked open a secret she didn't intend to reveal. On the night of August 19th, Tamar took to Instagram and left a message that stopped her fan base cold. She wrote that she had struggled to even compose the note because she was so weak. She said, "I almost died on Sunday." She described being found in a pool of blood, suffering from a fractured nose, missing teeth, and impaired mobility. She admitted she didn't even know what had happened. She asked for prayers. That single post set off a storm because it wasn't polished PR, it wasn't a curated photo shoot or a carefully worded press release. It was raw, shaky, and disturbing, like someone forcing themselves to type through tears. And when you put the words together, fractured nose, missing teeth, pool of blood, no memory, it read less like a recovery announcement and more like a cliffhanger. Fans immediately flooded her comments. Some said they were praying, others were confused. How could someone lose that much blood, lose multiple teeth, and not know how it happened? And why was she choosing Instagram as the place to reveal it? But one detail in her story lit the fuse. In her post, Tamar said, "I was found in a pool of blood from my friend with a face injury." At first glance, it looks like a typo. Surely she meant, "by my friend." That would make sense. She was found by her friend, covered in blood, injured, but read it again. "From my friend with a face injury." That strange phrasing opened the door to interpretation. If her friend also had a face injury, then we're no longer talking about a solitary medical episode. We're talking about multiple people hurt in the same incident. And that changes the story entirely. Fans began combing over the sentence like detectives circling a crime scene. Was she loopy from pain medication? Was it autocorrect gone wrong? Or was it a subconscious slip hinting at something she wasn't ready to fully explain? A single preposition turned her Instagram story into a riddle, and once that question was asked, it couldn't be unasked. As Tamar's post circulated, a familiar voice joined the conversation, Funky Dineva. A longtime personality in Atlanta's entertainment scene, Funky admitted he had been out with Tamar the same weekend. He said they'd gone to dinner, then the club, then back to her place for an after-party. The next morning, he said Tamar texted him asking for the phone number of Dr. Heavenly, a celebrity dentist known for emergency cosmetic fixes. He thought nothing of it at first. Friends ask for that number all the time when a veneer chips or a crown breaks. But then, he says, Tamar added, "Q, I'm missing 4 teeth." Imagine reading that text. Missing 1 tooth is painful enough. Missing 4 overnight with no memory of how it happened. That's something else entirely. Funky claims he was shocked, confused, and uncertain what to believe. He repeated the line to his own viewers, shaking his head as if even he couldn't wrap his mind around it. And yet, despite saying all of this, Funky also distanced himself, referring to Tamar as "that lady" instead of "my friend." He swore he didn't know what happened, but the internet couldn't help noticing his tone. Was he protecting her, protecting himself, or simply refusing to get entangled? By the morning of August 20th, the story was everywhere. Page 6 ran a headline, "Tamar Braxton reveals she woke up in pool of blood with fractured nose and missing teeth." Other outlets echoed the same. They repeated her words, "Near fatal, mobility issues, pray for me." But when reporters called her team for details, where it happened, whether there was a hospital visit, whether police were involved, they got nothing. No confirmation, no clarification, no statement. That silence turned confusion into suspicion. Because if this was just an accident, a fall in the bathroom, a blackout on the stairs, why wouldn't someone clarify? Why leave fans panicking and speculating? The absence of official detail created the perfect vacuum for rumors to thrive. And swirl they did. Within hours, theories began multiplying. Accidental fall? Maybe Tamar fainted, tripped, or blacked out and face planted hard enough to break teeth and nose. Adverse reaction? Some fans whispered about something slipped in her drink, or a reaction to medication, or exhaustion compounded by stress. Altercation? Others pointed to her wording about a friend's injury, wondering if there had been a fight, whether at the club or back at her place. Cover story? A small but vocal group suggested Tamar was getting ahead of a story she couldn't stop, crafting her own narrative before someone else leaked worse details. Let's be clear, none of these have been confirmed. Without a police report, without a medical file, without a witness on record, they remain speculation. But the fact that speculation is the only thing fans have tells you how wide the information gap truly is. Part of the reason fans don't know how to interpret this story is Tamar's own history. She's been candid about her struggles. A hospitalization for severe flu-like symptoms in 2022, an abrupt exit from Dancing with the Stars years ago due to blood clots in her lungs, a 2020 suicide attempt that she later described as one of the darkest points of her life. She has never hidden her vulnerability. If anything, she has shared it to the point of oversharing, admitting things on social media that most stars would bury behind NDAs and PR filters. That honesty has made her relatable, but it has also created fatigue among some fans, who can't decide if every new crisis is a legitimate emergency or another dramatic chapter in a long-running saga. That tension between sympathy and skepticism now colors every reaction to this new mystery. Now let's pause on the dental detail. 4 teeth. To most people, that sounds catastrophic, like she had been beaten or smashed into the ground. But dental experts who spoke to outlets pointed out that in a celebrity world where veneers and implants are common, losing 4 teeth doesn't always mean natural teeth. Veneers can crack, shear off, or be knocked out of place with blunt trauma. Implants can dislodge, and that doesn't make the injury less real. In fact, the cosmetic nature of her dental work makes her more vulnerable to damage. A bad fall or sudden impact could easily leave her with gaps that felt, and looked, as shocking as she described. And it explains why the first thing she did the next morning was text someone for a dentist's number. Still, the number, 4, is large enough that fans can't shake the image of something violent happening. A stumble doesn't usually end with 4 front teeth gone. That's why this detail continues to fuel suspicion. So the question is, why post at all? Why not quietly heal, get the work done, and show up weeks later looking restored? There are 2 likely answers. The first is control. If others in her circle were already talking, neighbors, friends, people at the club, it's possible Tamar wanted to seize the narrative before whispers turned into leaks. By posting herself, she made sure the story began in her own words. The second is sympathy. By framing it as near death, by showing herself weak and wounded, she invited prayers and compassion instead of gossip. But there's a trade-off. When you open the door with a dramatic half-story, you don't just receive sympathy, you invite suspicion. People don't just pray, they pry. Here's what we actually know today, as of August 21st. Tamar says she almost died. She says she was found in a pool of blood. She says she has a fractured nose, missing teeth, and mobility issues. She says she doesn't know what happened. She posted this on August 19th. Funky Dineva says he was with her that weekend, that she texted him for Dr. Heavenly's number, and that she admitted she was missing 4 teeth. Multiple outlets have repeated her story, but none have received further clarification from her team or authorities. That's it. That is the entire confirmed public record. No police report has surfaced in coverage. No hospital has released a statement. No friend has gone on record to confirm or deny details, which means the mystery remains open and speculation continues to fill the silence. What makes this story so magnetic is that it's not just about one night, it's about Tamar's entire narrative arc. She's a woman who grew up in the shadow of her superstar sister, Tamar Braxton, fought her way into her own spotlight, endured humiliating public relationships, survived health crises, and kept reinventing herself. Her fans know she's strong, funny, and talented, but they also know she has a history of chaos. And so when she says she nearly died, they don't know whether to picture a tragic accident, a violent altercation, or another dramatic overshare. That uncertainty keeps people watching, refreshing, speculating, and debating. So here we are. Tamar Braxton says she almost died. She says she lost teeth, broke her nose, woke up in blood, and doesn't remember why. A friend says she texted about missing 4 teeth. The headlines ran, the team stayed silent, and the internet is left to fill in the blanks. Was it an accident? Was it something slipped? Was it an altercation? Or is it a story too messy for even Tamar to fully explain? Until someone steps forward with a clear account, we're left with fragments, a confession typed through weakness, a strange line about a friend, and a timeline that doesn't add up. The truth is coming. Whether in days, weeks, or months, it always does. But the question haunting fans right now is, when it arrives, will it match the story Tamar told? Or will it expose something none of us were ready to believe? And that's why this mystery isn't going anywhere, because sometimes the silence around a story is louder than the story itself.